Had a hell of a ball.
I enjoyed Columbus Square softball.
Oh, well, here we are.
Oh, hey.
We're back.
Here we are
And
talking
we're dressed
softball.
up tonight. We kind of went rogue.
I thought you told me it was Casual Wednesday.
Yeah. But the shirt says
Well,
faith and freedom.
I was on the road. I figured I'd stop in and tell my old buddy hello. I missed him. It's been a week since
I'll
I've
tell
seen
you
him.
what, I mean, I was at home and I got out of the shower and I said, man, I don't feel like dressing up tonight. And I had this shirt, so I said, okay,
But
I'm
you
gonna
look
wear
great.
it.
You made the shirt look good.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But anyways,
Welcome, everybody.
welcome to Freedom Forum. There is so much. I mean, in putting the show together today, I'm going, so
Where do
what
you
I
start?
do now? Where do
Where
I
do you
start?
Where do you stop?
I mean,
you know?
this is local. This is Trump. This is the stupidest thing that's happened to America in history. This came from my people in Red Pill. This is just some things. And then,
I hope my name's not in there.
and then there's a thing called New World Order. And I doubt if we'll get to that, but one week we're going to do that. Oh, the
That's a good one.
announcements.
That's a good one.
Why
need
don't
that
we do
on
the
top.
prayer? We'll
I
start
think we
with
should
the
do a prayer.
Let's go.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy
Holy
Spirit.
Spirit.
Amen. I am praying for everyone who needs a miracle. Only God can do the impossible. He can make a way when there seems to be no way. Today, I pray God touches your health, your home, your family, your faith, and your finances. Amen.
Amen.
And in the Father, and Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I
Jim found that. It's called the Miracle
found
Prayer.
that on.
I like that.
So I got another one too. I said that's a good one for now.
Who was the guy that said, I got 1 million of them?
Oh yeah. But
And it wasn't Trump.
no, it wasn't Trump. We got a little stuff on that deal tonight. Should scare the heck out of everybody.
Oh, yeah?
There's
What's
a lot of
next?
things
What's
going
next?
on. I tried to put together a judges forum, and them people are busy. One judge has a murder case the week I wanted
wow.
to do it, so I didn't think we were going to get her. And the other ones, so I'm just going to kind of leave it alone. More people are doing that, but there's a lot of things going on. Next Tuesday, the Acadiana Republican Women will have their August dinner meeting.
That's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it is. The speaker is Congressman Clay Higgins. So-
Captain Clay.
And you know what's a neat thing about what I do is that Clay and I are like brothers. I mean, I've spent some time on the phone with him. I've spent some time with him, and his wife Becca is a fine lady. And you become friends with these people. You
Right.
get to know their lives a little bit. I'm a big proponent of Clay. The doors open at 5:30. The meeting starts at 6. It's $25 for dinner with a cash bar.
It's at the River Oaks Center, is it?
Yeah, the meeting will be held at River Oaks Catering and Event Center in the Napoleon Room. And like, that's the one down behind, it is behind, but it's not the one in the back. It's the one up front.
Yeah,
You
in the
come
front.
It's at 520 East Coliseum Road in Lafayette. You have to RSVP.
Their phone number?
Yeah, phone number is 337-288-0568.
288-0568. Go
Yeah.
write that down.
But it's going to be really good. Clay
He's a dynamic speaker.
he is a dynamic speaker. Now, these ladies put together the Acadiana Area Republican Women Concealed Carry Class.
That's the same people that's sponsoring this.
Right, basically, but it's for if you're members of the two ladies groups,
Right.
the other one.
What if I identify as? Could I go take the class?
Well, I could go and take the class because I'm
Oh, you're a member, that's right.
I'm a member.
Associate member.
associate member, but I already had the class, and
But
I
this is,
already qualified again.
But this is wonderful, concealed carry class.
Yeah, it's from 8:30 until 5 p.m. Actually, their previous meeting, I actually got to hear the instructor, the guy that runs the Rustic Renegade. I like that for a name of a weapons place. It's from on August 20th, from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you really need that class because I know I did it with the Iberia Sheriffs. And
It's in St. Martinville, by the
it's
way.
in St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Range on 1381 Francois Road. Hey, I actually got
You
that
pronounced
right.
that right.
Yeah, St. Martinville. Usually I abuse that stuff bad.
Not
in
bad for a pen
Louisiana.
guy. Not bad for a pen man.
The class instructor fee is $125. State permit fee is $125, paid at a later date. Now, I will tell you, veterans don't pay.
That's nice.
Because what happened when I qualified, and I filled it out online because I had my certificate number and everything, and I'm going, where do I pay? I didn't know.
Couldn't find the
So I
blank.
called the guy, and he said, "You're a veteran. You don't have to
Have to
pay."
pay. That's nice.
So that's kind of nice.
It is.
Lunch and drinks.
And by the way, if you're over 65, you can get a lifetime membership. You
Yeah.
can get a lifetime
I
permit.
qualify all different ways.
That's it. You got it coming and going.
Lunch and drinks will be provided by Blake McGiz, state representative, and he has his deal, marksman for McGiz.
Oh,
He's actually a very professional. He's
Shooter.
won all
He's a-
kinds
he's a
of
good shooter.
shooting, so I learned that I wouldn't make
So they
a-
were able to appropriate the money for food and drinks?
Yeah. I don't know how they work the deal. Blake is really, he really
Yeah, he's
fought
straight up guy.
for us this year. Limited spots are available. Call or text Kirsten Bork. See, I got this
You got
stuff
that one
down
good, too.
now. At 337-577-7515. Or email at friendsofblakemcgiz@gmail.com to register. And that's coming up next week.
It's well worth having. Well worth having.
And the one I'm really excited about.
I don't know why. It's like you got some kind of personal involvement or something.
The Acadiana Patriots meeting on the 23rd, August 23rd, at 6:30 p.m. at the Como Recreation Center on 411 Bluebird Drive, Lafayette. That's right by the New Lords. Oh, wow.
The new lures, I love it.
Yeah, the New Lords. Our guest speaker will be our Attorney General, Jeff Landry. In the little write-up here, they say General Landry.
I love it.
It said Jeff became the Louisiana Attorney General on January 11, 2016. In 2010, Jeff Landry was elected to the United States House of Representatives as one of the Louisiana congressmen. And this is what it says on his page.
Right.
General Landry became known as a ferocious advocate of the Constitution, a leader on national energy policy emphasizing increased domestic oil and gas production, an activist for conservative family values, and a promoter of true reductions in wasteful government spending.
Yeah,
General Landry,
I love it.
I didn't make this up. I didn't do this, okay?
It's not your fault.
Not me. General Landry earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental and Sustainable Resources with a minor in
Wow.
biology from the University of Southwestern Louisiana. He and his wife Sharon are raising their son JT in Acadiana. And also speaking will be Ruth Gaspar about her project, Rise Up Lafayette. And you really need to find that. And I could have a surprise that night.
He won't even share with me.
Nope. So it could be a surprise.
You're cooking again.
No, they asked me.
I thought that was a surprise. I'm guessing.
It's time to get involved. God bless America. Come join the fun.
Yeah.
And to get all the details, you can go to the Acadiana Patriots website.com. That was interesting.
One thing I have to say about Mr. Jeff Lander,
Yeah.
besides being the general, he's definitely an advocate for states' rights.
Oh,
He is fighting for this state.
not just states' rights.
Personal
He's
rights,
hooked
too.
up with the AGs all over the country
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
the crap. And
They look to him
DC.
for leadership. They really do.
So
He's been the lead,
I actually,
We've been the lead state because of him in some suits and
I-
involved a lot of our rights.
I campaigned with Jeff in his first
Good.
couple of things, but
I think he's
he
originally
said-
from New Iberia, is he not?
he said about me cooking. It surprised a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I just put together this thing many years ago, and so it kind of turned out okay.
Oh, yeah. That was, he said the miracle prayer before he started cooking. I
But-
attribute the food to the prayer, really. It wasn't Jim necessarily.
But, yeah, you know, and then somebody asked me if I was cooking for this meeting.
Oh, I believe
I
it.
said,
See, you're building a reputation already.
now they said I have to come up with something else. So I went to Dino's, and I had been to church. We do a rosary once a month on the first Tuesday at St. Edmunds. And so after that, I went to Dino's to have supper. And 3 of the ladies that were at the rosary were sitting there. I didn't bother them because, you know, they all talking. And in walks a couple of people that were at the meeting, our last meeting. And I'm sitting there, and the one comes by and says, "We want the recipe."
Oh, I love it.
I mean, I'm going, "Excuse me." When I told him the recipe, which is basically simple, it's just hamburger meat, macaroni, and I have 3 pounds of meat and 3 cans of vegetable soup. That's it. Because they kept asking me, "What sauce did you use?" Didn't use
Soup.
any sauce.
Did you pre-cook the macaroni or let the soup from
Oh,
the...
no, I cooked
You cooked it ahead of
the
time.
macaroni before I put it in
That's
the
a
meat.
key.
But
You gotta remember that one now.
it was funny. One of the guys, he said he was coming, he texted me and said he was coming to the meeting, and I said, "Oh, you'll get a treat tonight because I'm cooking." And he comes back and says, "Wow, a man of many talents." And I thought, there's not
I
too
think
much.
you'd use shells that night too, didn't you?
Huh?
Was it shells or was it, what type of penne? Which one did you use that night when you cooked that meal? I
It
don't
was
remember.
just a regular big,
Linguine?
no, it was some macaroni.
Elbows?
The elbows.
Elbows.
The
there you
big
go.
elbows.
The big elbows. It
So
soaked
it-
up that
it was
good
kinda
grease. It was
fun.
delicious.
But I didn't eat because I was busy doing
were
other
talking.
stuff. And I go
Actually, you were
back.
listening.
I go back and there's fair little bit on the bottom, and the one young man that was there from Turning Point USA, the president of their organization at UL, Anthony, he says, "Can I have some more?" And I said, "Go ahead." Well, when I took it home, I had enough for a plateful.
Well, at least there was no left over.
Yeah.
You can say that. It was good to the last drop.
Hey, but you know, and it's exciting. That meeting was.
It was a good meeting. It was a good
That girl is.
I'm looking forward to that.
That girl is something.
And she was
And
she
now I
handled it
made
well.
friends with her dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I don't know if he's watching the show. They're from Madisonville.
Oh.
But he actually said, he put his name down that He saw the thing on Facebook because
Wow.
he made a comment about what I said about his daughter, you know, and so I thought, hey, his last name's Bird. That's got to be your dad.
Gotta be.
So I've Facebook friended him, and we're friends now. We've gone back and forth a little bit,
That's
but
good.
he's so proud of that girl, and she just Turning Point USA had a big training in Phoenix, and she was the trainer.
You know,
This
it's,
girl's 23 years old, people. We need hundreds of them.
you know, I kind of empathize with Mr. Bird because when you raise a daughter, they are different from sons. There's
Yeah.
no doubt. There's a world of difference. And a son, you expect to be independent and out there and
Oh, yeah.
engaging and take the reins and go out and do things. But a girl, such as her, to go out there and take the reins and do what she
Oh.
does and not be afraid and not be intimidated, that's a wonderful thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was lucky. I had 3 daughters that did that. They
Yeah.
all got out there and made their path, every one of them, you know.
And, you
In
know,
fact,
and-
one of them just got her EDD this past Saturday.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I remember you
that was
saying
wonderful.
that.
Really
Yeah.
proud of her. Really proud of her.
I,
She worked hard to do that.
And you see that today, and I want to say at our age, we know that we need some leaders in the young people. That girl is already gone. She went from state director of Louisiana from when I first met her in New Orleans. I went to see her speak, to now she is a regional director for Turning Point USA.
At the 23, 24,
At 23 years old.
23.
She has Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Southern Georgia, and all of Florida. That's who she's in
That's
charge
pretty
of
amazing.
at the age of 23.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, she can handle it.
And she just got married too.
She just got married. Her husband is in medical school. He's going to be a doctor. And one of the things she told me is because she lived in Madisonville, she moved to be with her husband, who's going to school in Shreveport. And she says, I don't have to drive down I-12 anymore
That's right.
and go through Baton Rouge.
Well, see if you can talk to him about being a neurosurgeon, because I think we're both going to need it one day. You know?
All the craziness. There's a lot going on, and I appreciate Ann. I really do appreciate Andy coming.
Well, I
Some-
could not resist the invitation to come sit with
Because
Jim.
there's really some, it's budget time. It's always interesting.
That's what I did today. I was in the budget books, reading,
Oh.
reading.
I'm gonna read, and I've talked about this before. And Andy said he wasn't aware of it, but it was in the Advocate. They showed a picture of the house, and
It was disturbing when Jim told me about
it's
it.
really disheartening to think that a mother would allow a 13-year-old to do this. Lafayette Girls Little Queer Library installed, offering free LGBTQ plus banned books.
This is like one of those little
It's a
neighborhood.
10-year-old
10-year-old
Lafayette
girl.
resident Cora Newton saw a dream fulfilled Saturday with the completion and installation of the city's first little queer library. I'm really happy because the LGBTQ1A plus have a place to get books that the library might ban and that they might love.
And what's funny about this, Jim? The library has not banned any books.
Right. I know.
They've only put books in appropriate areas. That's
It's
all
the
they've ever
red-
done. So this whole article is misleading from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
The library has not banned any books.
Newton has been toying with the idea of building a little free library, and she decided to make it the Little Queer Library. Can you imagine if I said that or did that?
Mm.
Huh. After
No, I
attending
can't imagine that, Jim.
Lafayette Parish Library Board meeting where board members discussed banning The Book is Gay at the request of a patron. Instead, the library director moved all 10, what you just said, nonfiction books, including This Book is Gay, to the adult nonfiction section. the residents who
That's where it should
volunteered
be.
to house Little Queer Library at the home of 214 South Audubon Boulevard in Lafayette have a surveillance camera, because I can tell you I've seen some
I
on the library.
I hadn't personally read those books, or I spoke to someone who did
Oh.
read those books, and they were very suggestive and pornographic and very graphic in the illustrations in these books. It was not something you would want an 8 or 10-year-old to read.
Oh, to believe me. We'll let, and it says surveillance camera on the library, and we'll let Newton and Salts know when books need to be replenished. And I'll say this publicly, this thought came in my mind. I was gonna go take all the books and replace them with Bibles.
It is a trade-off.
Hey,
You didn't leave something behind, you know. You left something behind.
a couple of my friends said I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Well, maybe it would
Maybe I
be,
should.
or maybe if it would be.
The owners of another Little Queer Library in Waltham, Mass. warned Salts that their library was vandalized and books were stolen at least 4 times since February. How can you say they were stolen when you say it's okay to get the books?
Yeah,
So far, Salts said there have been no vandalism or harassment associated with Lafayette's Little Queer Library.
wow.
I mean, people, I just, you know, I said
Talking
it last
about
week
that.
and I'll say it this week. I don't
Okay.
care what you want to be. That's up to you.
Don't care.
But 10 years old and the mother
Pushing it.
pushing it, I just can't comprehend that. I mean, my 15th grandchild arrived 2 weeks ago. It
Two-
scares me what the future of that little guy is going to be.
Why are we having that discussion at 8 and 10 and 6 and 5 and
But I mean, I'm not afraid to put stuff out like that. It's just,
no, that you're not.
you know, it's not that I hate anybody or I just, man, I grew up in a little town of 400 people in Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
I can't imagine if somebody to put one of those in. See, the thing to me,
So this is one of those little houses, a yard
Yeah.
library is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it has, you can open it up and
Help-
whatever.
Help yourself.
But it's hard for me to fathom. But I'll tell you what, I've seen the books. And I mean, I saw them way back when we first started this.
Mhm.
And the whole thing is that when I looked at those books, it was like, that's in our library? And now there's even worse, and I met a girl, it's a small world. Years ago, I fought the Common Core battle in Baton Rouge. And we had Lunsford had his luncheon, and there's a girl there, and girls were introducing themselves to him. I didn't recognize her. And I went to say, I'm so-and-so, and she goes, you're Jim Crumling. I know you well. And I'm going, uh-oh.
What did I do?
Uh-oh. Well, what it ended up is she was one of the group of girls that were fighting Common Core.
Common Core also.
So she knew who I was. We talked afterwards. She is fighting a mess in Livingston Parish.
Wow.
Lunsford and Jamie and a couple of our people actually went out there. And I told her, next time you're going to have a big to-do, call me. I have no problem driving to Livingston. And so she said, yeah, but we talked after the meeting. It was kind of cool. Talked about the stuff we went. She said, I'll never forget the day. And I got a standing ovation and high fives
You did?
Oh,
I
yeah.
love it.
I called out John White
At the state legislature.
at the Bessie board meeting.
Oh, okay, the best board meeting.
Even
all
worse, there's 500 people in
right. Yeah.
there. And I called out John White. Because, and see, this is how it works today. You think it just happened today? No. I'm talking 7, 8 years ago. A lady approached me because she knew I was one of the people that was kind of heading up, and told me about the sexual material that her 7th grade daughter got. Showed it to me. Oh. And I said, "This school?" And she said, "Yeah." So she was going to talk. And John White made her cry
Wow.
and said it was not in Common Core. And Jim's sitting there going, "You're screwed." So I went up there when it was my turn to talk. I talked about this, and then I called out White. I said, "You and I are going to your office, and we're going to go through the Common Core
The
curriculum,
curriculum,
and I will show you
where it's in there.
where it's in there. And secondly, you ought to be ashamed of yourself." This is where they got the standing ovation. "You ought to be ashamed of yourself making a mother cry who was concerned about her daughter and what you're pushing in our schools." And the lady says, "Your time is way overdue." And I said, "Thank you, I'm going." And I turned around to walk back. Everybody stood up and applauded and were giving me a high five, and I'm looking for security. They're never going to let me in here again.
Oh, yeah.
But you want to know something? More people have to do that. Today, especially. That's what Rise Up Lafayette's about.
That's what Emily McCutcheon's about.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
not being afraid. That's what
she
teaching
is
the
not
values.
afraid. We know that for sure.
Teach the values to your children. Don't tear down your children. Teach them the values of being an independent thinker who can be not afraid, but yet have confidence in themselves.
And see,
to
that's
say
what they
what is
don't
the
want you
truth.
to do today.
Well,
They
no,
don't
they don't.
want
They
you to
almost
be-
fall in line.
They don't want you to think for yourself.
Mm-mm.
So,
And
you
that's
know,
unfortunately, there was a gentleman speaking Tuesday night or Tuesday at the budget meeting. Excuse me. That was an all-day meeting yesterday. He came and spoke regarding there's a swimming pool, an outdoor pool at the Martin Luther King over there, the King Center, and I mean it's an outdoor pool. It's just not usable, but 2-3 months of the year if you're lucky. And there are many kids and older people that love that pool. And I feel we as a council and a city needs to find a way to enclose that pool to make it usable year-round for those people that need it. And the gentleman spoke to the integrity and the encouragement of these young kids that are under lesser families that have less money, you know,
yeah.
and just can't afford other things. But these kids go there not knowing how to swim. And when they get that engagement to where they can gain the self-confidence to jump in that pool and realize they don't have to be afraid, that builds on other things.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. And that to build self-confidence in children is a wonderful thing. If you build confusion, that's another story.
Yeah.
I'd rather not go there right now.
So we have a lot of stuff going on. Utility bills are going out of sight.
That's what I hear.
That's
That's what I hear.
more than everybody. I'm telling you.
I think that's why he asked me to come tonight.
What's one of the this is all stuff. Well, not
It's
that.
it's
but-
not pretty. It really isn't.
And the thing is that it comes down. LUS proposes base rate increase
Over 3 years.
over the 3 years, and what is it per year? 3%.
I'm gonna say it's 3%. Yeah,
3%.
3%.
But when that's 3% on everything,
Correct.
electricity, if I understand right.
Well, I think there's 3% on electricity for 2 years, and then the other there's 3% across the board. for 2 years will be on electricity, then for 3 years will be on water and wastewater. The regulations on water and wastewater have gotten crazy. It's gotten really tough.
So when we sit and look at this, I'm going to make this statement, and it'll tick off some people. But for 4 years, I didn't hear any of this stuff.
Oh, we
During the
did.
Trump.
Right.
In the last 2 years, well, even less than 2 years,
Year and a half.
we're looking at gas prices. Somebody said, well, they're coming down. No, they're still up by about $2 a gallon.
I was 436 the other day, and I was excited.
Yeah.
436.
I paid for regular gas when I
was much
I
happier
had
at
about
224.
3/4 of a tank,
Yeah.
and I was coming back from DeRidder going through Moss Bluff, and Racetrack had it for 337.
Wow.
I
Jump
said,
in there.
well, I'm gonna stop and
Yeah.
top it off.
Yeah.
You know, ridiculous. I would never do that. I'd get back to Lafayette. But even at 337, the last I can remember was $1.69.9. And you're still looking at, and I travel the state. But the utilities thing, I mean, I understand people being upset, especially people on fixed incomes. I mean, there's one in here, and it's not LUS, but the article I read in here where the lady paid $700. Entergy or
Yeah.
Clico. We're lucky
It's,
we have LUS. I will agree with that.
We're one of the lowest in the state across the board when they were looking at all the comparisons between the energy companies.
and
We're
I
one of
have-
the lowest rates in the state.
A good friend of mine, Brandon, say his last name, but that he is the guy that looks at a lot of this. He's a lawyer, and he works for the state, and he oversees a lot of this. My friend Larry sent me a link to Brandon's talk to the commission on what was going on and why we were at these. And to be honest, I listened to the whole thing when Brandon talked, not the whole deal for the commission. That was like 5 or 6 hours. But understanding what the cause is, you know. I learned, you said about bonding. I read in here, they all wanted to go to 5 years, and could cause some issues with the
Our bill
bonds.
to borrow money to do the infrastructure, that's right.
You know, it's like we were talking, I give an example at home. The other bathroom had a leak. 1 month I got a bill for $400. And I'm going,
What
heck
happened?
is this?
What
I looked
happened?
at the water, and I thought, what the heck? Well, that had a leak, and it was running all the time.
And instead of restroom, a
It cost
bathroom you
me
didn't
15.
use.
Yeah, I didn't use that bathroom.
Yeah, so you didn't know it was leaking.
No, and it was like $15 to fix it, but I paid a lot of money to get to that
Beforehand,
point.
that's right.
And see,
exactly.
that's what we have to watch.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, in speaking with Mr. Stewart, Jeffrey Stewart, the LUS director, the other day, speaking toward this cost, our electric bills are really fairly reasonable for electricity.
Yeah.
The fuel costs get exorbitant, but part of the big thing with our bills is our wastewater. Everybody knows what they pay in wastewater bills and in water bills, but in particular wastewater, because our means of distribution of the wastewater is directly into the Vermilion. And that water has to be basically drinkable when it goes back into that Vermilion. We can't put any type of pollutants in there, and it has to be purified once we clean it. So there's a lot that goes into the wastewater treatment plants, and that's one of the things they're putting investments into is compliance, because you take the one off Ambassador Caffrey, that plant's getting old. And all those chemicals and everything that goes into the work that it does is starting to deteriorate the concrete, the pipes, and everything else involved with that. So they're gonna have to have some upgrades in there to fix it. unfortunately, because everybody's going to pay these bills across the board, and also Mr. Stewart, the director, everybody that works at LUS is paying those bills. We're all got to pay for it. And Jim and I were discussing it earlier today, and it's a sad state because they're between a rock and a hard place. We have to have utilities. We
Yeah.
have to have LUS. They're the lifeblood of the city. If we didn't have that, if the lights would go out, nobody had water, sewer, the city would die. What would we do? And they have to be able to function at a reasonable level to where they can recoup their investments to be able to reinvest in fixing things up and infrastructure and expansion and, I mean, just transmission, electric transmission, the power grid, the amount that goes into that, and you know the intricacies in that, how it can be attacked from outside. So there's a lot of safety things involved in this, and Mr. Stewart's got a handle on. Now, one thing I did discuss with the prior utilities director was it's going to stress families. There's no doubt about it. There are people out there that can't afford another $10 on their bill, another $15 on their bill, and they might be paying another $25, $30, $50, $100 on their bill. It just depends. I don't know where it's going to go. But one thing I did discuss was what can we do to make these payments easier for these families. And there are payment plans you can get involved in with LUS. You got to go over there and just contact with them, and they'll put you on a pay plan where you'll pay a certain set amount within your budget throughout the year that at the end of the year will equal your bill. That you're not necessarily paying the high bill at the high time and the low bill at the low time. You're spreading out those payments throughout the year to where it fits within a budget that you can afford. So I would suggest if people really are tight on their budgets to talk with the directors at LUS, to go talk to the people over there, and I think they'll find a way to help you out.
A lot of things now, for me being single and I'm on the road, when I leave the house, I set my thermostat at 78.
Yeah.
You know?
It makes a difference.
And I had it at 78, and one night during all this heat, my air conditioner is running at 78.
Yep, I can believe it.
And I'm going, do I have to put it at 80?
The heat gain in the house can be
Oh,
tremendous.
yeah.
I mean, 10 o'clock at night is still 78 degrees, you know? It's still hot, you know? So it's...
I like what Liz said, kind of what you, at the meeting. I don't know how some people will be able to afford utilities. Councilman Liz Aber said, explaining some constituents' LSU bills have increased $400 to $800 a month. I don't know. Is it that much?
That's a lot. I haven't seen it, but it's possible.
I mean,
I
if
don't
you
know.
own a 4,000 square foot house.
Correct.
It might be,
Yeah.
you know. And the last increase was in 2016 and 2017.
That is the last rate increase. That's right.
So, and what you were talking about was the 3%, and that starts if this
Fiscal year
passes
November.
November 1st.
Yeah.
I
Going to the
know
budget.
that I've seen over the years when the gas was fluctuating and the things increase. Actually, LUS tells you on your bill,
Right.
we increased it because of the higher cost. I mean, I was in on the Bernhardt.
Mm-hmm.
And
The buyout.
I got in trouble with that. But anyways, and listening, you know, to some of the equipment that we have is old.
Right. Oh, it is. It is.
And so wanting to,
I mean, you figure our utilities department's been around over 100 years. It started in the late 1800s, and we still have it going today. I mean, that's a tremendous asset, a tremendous tribute to the utilities and the people that have run it over the years. But unfortunately, we as citizens and also owners of LUS also have a responsibility to ourselves to be on top of the problems in our home to make it. LUS is gonna fix what's deficient. We'll have to do the same things in our homes. If you got a leaky faucet, fix it. If you got a leaky toilet, fix it. If you got children that like to stand there with their doors open, close the doors, close the blinds if you have to during the day. Stop that heat gain in the house. Close the refrigerator. Don't stand there with it open.
And don't let the faucet run forever.
Oh, yeah. Run the washer with a full load. Run the dryer with a full load.
But that's one of the things for me now. I don't fill up my dishwasher that quick.
No.
And I use paper plates.
Yeah. And that saves that hot water bill and the electricity by doing that.
See, I read this article about Entergy. And you know, I saw some friends that live under energy, and they're upset about the hurricane for the next 10 years. They're gonna pay this extra fee on their
To pay for the energy's costs during the hurricane.
Repair or whatever. And I mean, these people,
And I don't know specifically to Entergy as to what went on, but there was money supplied through the FEMA and the federal governments to these companies to help and assist with the repairs and the costs of getting things back and running again. Anything that comes from the federal government is our money anyway. It's money we sent to them, they send back. So I'm all for these grants that come back to us because we deserve it. We put that money out there for them anyway. I mean, I'll be darned if Washington has ever made a profit on anything yet.
Yeah, right. They just print.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's easy to print.
And see, this is a registered nurse. Now she ain't hurting. She lives in a 2,900 square foot house in Chalmette.
Nice size home.
She said she owed $231.29 for her April bill.
Okay.
A typical charge from
the March.
The invoice rose to $358.87 in May.
Okay, a little bit warmer.
Her jaw dropped when she saw her bill for $487.93 in June.
Which May was hot this year, but still.
Yeah, and then July was even worse when her cost soared to a whopping $732.42.
That's when fuel costs started kicking in.
Huh?
That's when the fuel costs really started kicking
in. And so you look at that now. It's a 2,900 square foot house. My house is about 1,700, I think. Yeah. 1,800. But if she's a registered nurse, does she set her thermostat?
While she's not home.
While she's not home. Yeah. And that's a key.
Those
you go on vacation, I would set it at 80.
Yeah.
That's enough that the house ain't going to get too hot.
To keep the humidity out of the house. That's all you're trying to do.
That's it. And I mean, when I do leave to go for the basic part of the day, and a lot of times I come home, I forget that I'm not at night. You know, my mate would freeze me, but me, I don't bother me. But the thing is that you're right. We all have to make sacrifices, but don't.
We can't just blame LUS for this issue. You can't blame just LUS. This goes all the way to Washington.
Right.
It really does, Jim.
Look, we were not, and that's what I told Andy when we were talking. You have to look at the real cause of this going up. What were you paying for gasoline 2 years ago?
2.5 years ago, 2 years ago.
Seriously.
Natural gas was cheap.
Natural gas was real cheap. No, it's not.
It was like, what, $30 a 1,000 cubic feet or something. Now it's what, $8 a 1,000 cubic feet or something. It's just more than doubled the price.
It's Washington.
It's almost tripled.
D.C.
Killing the energy sector.
Issue is now.
Lafayette, yeah, killing the energy sector.
How many workers lost their jobs in Louisiana?
Just look at the pipelines that were killed in the loan.
Oh, the biggest one was the one that was going to be
one of the biggest.
People
suppliers.
said, well, that oil wasn't going to be for us. Wrong.
That's exactly right.
It's coming out of Canada. It's going down to Texas.
We were going to
being refined there. I will challenge you to do this. I did it. I want you to just go in and Google pipelines in the U.S.
They're everywhere.
Looks like spaghetti.
They're everywhere.
They everywhere. I also want you to find out where Google the biggest issues with oil disasters. Be shocked. It's the railroads.
The railroads.
The railroads.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, you know me. I do my homework. It's like, I can't believe, but it is. There's more oil spills with railroads. Now, somebody can prove me wrong. Hey, I'm open.
Yeah.
You know, you can challenge me. But,
You do your homework, I have to admit.
I mean, railroads, I was shocked. I was shocked. Now, we're going to get off the electric bill.
Well, and what's funny about it's not just fuel costs, though, Jim.
No.
Look at the cost of steel today. We
Oh.
don't produce steel here anymore. Look at the cost of the insulation it takes to put on the wires that they have to buy.
Mm-hmm.
The insulation's not made here anymore. That's all had to do with oil production there. You look at the cost of the wiring, the aluminum, the copper, everything else that goes involved in this. It's just all gone through the roof. And then try to find somebody to operate equipment anymore.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, they do have job
I know
openings.
so many business
They
friends.
do have job openings at LCG, by the way. People that are looking and you need a job, go by the drainage department, go by public works. They have openings over there.
Yeah.
And one thing about when you get these civil service jobs, benefits. You get some
Oh, yeah.
fantastic benefits with great retirement options. Some retirement options you won't find in the private sector, that's for sure.
I worked 36 years at GE.
Yeah,
I have a good retirement.
yeah. That was a
Not
huge
rich.
company with a good system.
I'm not
with
rich,
good
but
benefits.
I'm stable.
Yeah. And GE, in 50 years ago, 30 years ago, GE was a lot better than they are today.
Oh.
And that's for sure.
Yeah, well, they missed me on my
When
stock.
Jim Welch retired from that company, when they lost
That's
him,
when they went down.
that's when it started going down.
And that's right when I retired.
I had worked for GE for about 6.5 years.
that
and,
right?
Yeah, I got laid off when the oil field bust hit back in the late 70s.
Wow.
And I mean, I had built up a stock portfolio with them that was amazing. That of course, the stock's not worth anything anymore, but back then it was
Well, when
splitting,
they
it was
closed
splitting,
out
it was
my
splitting.
stock account, and then 2 weeks later, the
Went
stock
to-
went to over $100 a share.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was an 8-for-1 split. For every 8 shares of stock, you got 1 share of stock. That's
Yeah.
wild. Cool. That was
Well, I
horrible.
was like,
You were smart to
you
have
know,
gotten
you
out when you
cheated
did.
me out of thousands of dollars, you crooks.
Unless you did like me, I hung in for that 8-to-1 split, and
No, I
only got
I
one.
didn't have a choice.
Oh, okay.
Once you go over 70 by 71
you
and
have
a
to sell
half,
it.
they automatically.
Oh, you reached that age where you got to sell.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to liquidate.
But I thought this was pretty interesting. Public
yeah?
records violation alleged.
I saw it now.
The public records. LCG sues city court
This is
attorney.
again something that's new to me. Yeah, I heard Win about it, and I haven't really seen
Oh,
the
I
suit
thought
yet.
this
But
something new.
yeah, I mean it didn't come through the council, so
So
I've been having my nose in a budget book, Jim.
well, I can imagine. So it's in McGolfin. I actually know him, and
Yeah.
his mom was big at St. Edmund's
I
Church.
was in the his dad's Cub Scout troop. They used to have, and his mom, yeah, she was the den mother. They used to have meetings at
But
at the guest house.
I read this. It was kind of interesting. I thought, man, another one. Here's a
Which that's regarding the city court, isn't it?
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be getting details about that
Oh
real
yeah,
soon.
that's coming your way. This here's an article I
In fact, we
printed
do
out.
city court tomorrow
Huh?
in the budget.
What?
We do city court in the budget tomorrow.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's going to be interesting.
Oh, good.
Tomorrow afternoon, we
Good
sure do.
God.
I don't know what's going to come forward, but we'll find out. I'm sure we'll hear something.
Now, in my involvement with things, there are some really good people involved in the vaccinations and all that stuff. And a thing has come up where they're saying the kids can't go to school unless they're vaccinated.
That's why.
Wrong.
That's why. That's bad.
No, it's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah, that's against.
Because we did away with that.
Correct.
But the parents It says, don't be fooled by the schools.
Right.
And this comes from some really good friends of mine.
Well, isn't every child in this country entitled to an education, a school?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was guaranteed.
It says, with the new school year around the corner, parents have already sent us many direct communications from schools stating that students will be barred from school attendance without proof of vaccination. This is blatant and egregious coercion by putting parents under duress.
Wow.
They're good. They define what coercion is. Maybe either actual where physical force is put upon a man to compel him to do an act against his will, or implied where the relations of the parties is such that one is under subjection to the other and is thereby constrained to do what is free will would refuse. Duress is unlawfully threatening another person with the intention of getting them to do something they normally wouldn't have done.
That's exactly what's occurring, both of those things.
And that right there explains what's going on.
Yep.
When they, and the governor actually did this, did away with this. I think they tried to get this listed as something that had to be done, you know, like your vaccinations and stuff. And I don't think that passed. But it is, you are not required. And
Didn't
this
Jeff
is
Landry file a suit on some of
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff? Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I mean, I read through this whole article, and then I called the gal in Ruston, Jill, and talked to her, and she said, no, you just send them parents to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
she'll straighten it out.
I think we're seeing the results of the injections, of the jab.
The reports coming out of the long-term effects are horrible, horrible.
I saw a doctor friend of mine sent me some stuff because he knows what I do, and he showed me pictures of the blockages, the blood clots
Young
caused
kids.
by, in kids, parents, doesn't matter.
Yeah, all ages.
And
Well,
I'm-
which wasn't it Spain or Germany that had actually had to suspend the injections because of the blood clots that were forming in
yeah.
people? They actually suspended it. It was getting so prevalent. They had to.
we're gonna have fun with this the second
If we'd have had the same leadership we had when they had the swine flu vaccine, and they got rid of that because they were with 20 deaths or 25
well,
deaths
and
or
then-
something.
And you look at, now they want to do it in 2 to 5 year olds.
Yeah, up to 6 months. 6 months and older.
6 months, yeah.
6 months and older, Jim.
And I mean, there's
Based on your weight.
so much, how could you put it, proof. UK, 30,000 deaths is the last number I saw
From the vaccine.
from the vaccine. Now,
But they won't classify that as a
I
death
want you to
from the
look at
vaccine here.
something. Our president,
Yeah.
fully boosted, got COVID.
Double vaccinated, fully boosted, more than once.
Actually, what